You won't believe it, the case is far from over, just the start. Time's tight, no rest for the team. Black's sister and Sarah immediately located the mysterious barn mentioned in the documents, suspecting it might hold the secrets of the puppet master. But when they discovered the tenant's name, Sarah was shocked, as it turned out to be her former colleague David, the one she sent to prison just recently. Sarah was shocked to open the barn door and find a mini-lab packed with fake evidence gear. What was David up to? She had never heard David mention this place. Sarah suspected a trap set by the puppet master from experience. The aim was to frame David, yet his clear prints were found at the scene. Proving a conspiracy isn't simple, and Black's sister gave Sarah no leeway. Sarah must team up with Jim to uncover the truth before the cops charge David, but will it really be that easy? This is a crime mystery I binge-watched while sitting on. It's so thrilling. Every case is gripping, flawless in plot. Now, let's see. What a fascinating story it tells. It all kicks off with 2 gunshots, and a couple ends up flat on the... Little did we know the lady was still alive. She fights to crawl towards her phone, but suddenly, a giant foot suddenly crushes her arm. The woman begs the murderer for mercy, but the devil shows no kindness and casually snaps a photo of her subtitles. Then, the murderer shoots, ending her life. The next day, the crime team arrives at the scene, finding only 2 bodies and the murderer's blood. The suspect is presumed a size 48-footed man. They learned from the victim's phone it was their wedding day. The room is neatly set up with wedding attire, and Ellie finds blue powder on the wedding dress and a hair that's definitely not the bride's. She suspects a murder due to infidelity, yet no break-in signs exist. The victim was shot multiple times at close range, indicating she knew the killer. But the truth is never as simple as we imagine. Meanwhile, over at the victim's garage, another officer discovers a kind of premium fuel only high-end vehicles use. The axle measurements suggest the luxury car not belonging to victims, likely the killers. Plus, oil paper traces are found in the garage. The suspect is clearly a regular at the victim's home. Unsurprisingly, the murderer is an acquaintance of the deceased. The front door shows no damage, leading the team to deduce. The suspect used the key to enter and shot the victim without her even knowing. But the strange part is, why didn't the killer clean up the scene? It's like they wanted to leave their mark. After testing, Black's sister finds evidence of a rare type of plant, which isn't common in Vegas. Soon after, they find a posh club. Ellie and her partner walk in and spot a luxury SUV that matches the suspect's ride, but the manager insists it's a shared vehicle anyone can. Times L finding clues here is nearly impossible. Sure enough, after collecting fingerprints, they found the steering wheel's prints wiped clean. All they know is the owner is the club's big boss, but since the club operates in a special industry, there are no security cameras, no one knows who draws. Ellie takes the member list for elimination, then they find the victim's boss. The list had the victims and boss names, but he hid this in the last inquiry. Subtitles, there must be secrets, but the man says it's because his wife objects to his club visits. It's irrelevant to the investigators. Since he won't say more, the investigator pulls out equipment to test for gunpowder residue on his fingers, but he outright refuses. Just then, sharp-eyed Ellie notices blue powder on the assistant's arm matches the victim's clothes. Just as Ellie was about to ask, the man panics and rushes to stop the assistant, but she insists it's no big deal. She tells Ellie it was shared with a man in the club room. Ellie and her companion go there at once and find a large bottle of blue powder. But why doesn't the boss want the investigation team to know? Is there really something hidden behind this? The next event will confirm their suspicions. There are hidden cameras in the room's dark walls, capturing all the dirty deeds of club members. The club manager claims they had no idea, and coincidentally, they tell Ellie that the boss just came back wearing a wig. But after spotting the police, he hurriedly left empty-handed. Ellie and her team theorize that the boss risks coming back to destroy evidence. Sure enough, after scouring the club, they find a damaged photo in the trash. Back at the precinct, they uncover a piece of the truth. Every member that was filmed saw their fees skyrocket. The boss has been blackmailing them all on. However, bizarrely enough, they didn't find any photos of the victim on the computer. Now they are left with only the damaged photo. After high-tech restoration, the results shock everyone. The victim's photo taken by the killer at the moment of the crime. The police quickly apprehended the boss, but to everyone's surprise, he's not the killer, even though they found traces of blood on his boots. Soon, outside the interrogation room, Black's sister noticed something odd. Since the boss entered, his hands have been shaking uncontrollably, and he could barely take off his boots. This is clearly a sign of a stroke. If he can't even get his boots off, how could he handle a gun? The real killer is still out, even though they let the boss go. Black's sister kept his boots for comparison, and they matched the size found at the crime scene. But then, she discovered something amiss. The shoe prints on the victim's hand showed that the pressure points were clearly in the middle, indicating that while the killer wore big boots, they didn't actually. This is clearly a classic case of murder framed on others. Only those close to the boss know his secret. Indeed, Black's sister found gunshot residue under the club manager's nails. Seeing the truth exposed, the woman confessed all. The club secretly engaged in kidnapping and blackmail, coercing members into paying hefty fees. They feared the boss' leverage until he suddenly had a stroke. His health plummeted, and the members started to stare. As a boss who can't even lift his shoes sure isn't scaring anyone. The two victims were once victims themselves, but they had escaped the boss' control. The manager killed them to set an example. Anyone defying would face the same end. The victim's boss rebelled, and the manager used death photos to coerce high fees.